to us, Vijay. We wanted to understand, since we are at Busworld India Conclave 2026,
Yeah,
how important are such events for the bus community, the whole ecosystem?
I think it's hugely important because I think this really serves as an important sounding board to exchange thoughts. The level of discussion, as you can see, is more than just the operational. Much more strategic, much more critical to what is important for the overall industry to grow. And with the presence of somebody like Mr. Gadkari,
Yeah.
who gives a larger than life vision of what we would like to achieve as a country and the overall directions we would like to take, I think it's a wonderful platform.
And as OEM, what do you think would aspire a lot of people to take buses? As of now, India's middle class aspires to buy two-wheelers and four-wheelers, and that's what even Mr. Gadkari alluded to, saying the auto
Sure.
component industry and autos provide a lot of employment and security to the country. But when it comes to buses, why and how can we make it more aspirational?
I'd like to not restrict my answer to buses,
Sure.
if I may. I would say, as a consumer, I would like to see something for public transportation that is very reliable, very connected, which ensures that my point-to-point movement is very seamless.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. So I traveled to Germany a few years back, and I was able to move from any location to any location through a chain of public transportation solutions,
Yeah.
which gave me with a lot of reliability at what time I could get the
Exactly.
service, at what time I would reach, and give me alternatives also.
Which was connected,
It is all
integrated.
connected.
Yeah.
So I think all of this has to fall into a larger solution, because the biggest problem that consumers face today is the fact that they have to get to a particular place at a particular time. If that reliability is not there, they would rather move that responsibility to themselves and use their private transportation. So I think that's what public transportation and specifically buses need to be part of.
Correct. And having said all this, like while we reach that goal of integrated and connected ecosystem on transportation, what do you think at the moment are the mega trends or growth drivers for the bus community?
So I think from a bus perspective, clearly, I think the entire movement towards sustainable mobility, which is getting driven today through, all forms, whether it be electric vehicles, whether it be biofuels, all of this is really taking one direction. I think the other thing is about the PPP itself. I think PPP, I think, is going to be a big driver to helping the overall business move in a more consolidated manner.
Okay.
Because otherwise, it was all moving in smaller, disparate
Correct.
pieces,
Silos separately.
silos.
Yeah.
So I think this is sort of bringing it all together, and I think this is also helping to build a larger ecosystem of people who are contributing to the solution. See, earlier it was, I do everything, others do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Today, everybody has a role to play.
Sure.
So I think that's what is really happening.
Sure. But given that scenario, when there are so many players, we say too many cook spoil the broth. But here, you have to make them understand that
Yeah.
please come together
Absolutely.
for the betterment of the whole ecosystem.
Absolutely.
And given that scenario, are there any specific pain points or challenges that we need to address immediately and change tomorrow?
Oh, I think there are several. So I think if I look at the entire gamut of things that need to be done, I think first of all, since we're talking about alternate technology, there's a lot of investment which goes into this. So there has to be some amount of surety in terms of the investment that we are making, the life cycle that we'll operate with.
Correct.
So a lot of work to be done around
True.
that piece. Secondly, I think there's a lot of work to be done on improving the skills of the people who are going to be working in this ecosystem. Because today, largely, the people who are coming to us are people who have not got that level of
Yeah.
training and skilling which will help to deliver the sort of service we are talking about. I think the third important thing we have to look at is the entire financing models of this entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
Because large investments going into it over many years. So how do you ensure that people who are going to invest into this business have some sort of support mechanism to go around it? I think these are the three, four big things. There are other smaller things, but that we can.
And where would you fit in as an OEM? And how would you enable it to get faster to the solution? Like, be it from your end, would it be service networks, uptime, or workshops
Yes,
development, or skilled
yes,
labor development?
yes. So I speak today as both Tata Motors, the OEM, as well as Tata Motors Smart City Mobility Solutions, which is a service provider. We are the operator.
Correct.
So what we are essentially trying to do is build this entire reliable service for the customer to ensure that their role of designing the public transportation system, designing the fares, all of that is eased up. They do that, whereas we take care of the typically the complex work of managing the fleets,
Correct.
managing the availability, managing the skilled people who are required.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how we are looking at this entire piece.
Correct. And immediately, as your sourcing partner to the OEMs and the whole ecosystem, what are your immediate targets? Like, how do you work with the operators or the other players in the ecosystem? What are your near to medium term goals?
When you say other operators, you mean
The both the long haul and the city, operators, as in the state transport undertakings
right,
in the
right,
cities.
right. So we have obviously deep engagements with all of these people because as Tata Motors, they are customers
Correct.
directly. So we have, and we also getting into various consortium agreements with them to work with us on this solution. So in the latest round of tenders that we have participated in, we have worked with these large operators as consortium partners, where they would lead and front end a lot of these business, whereas we would provide the know-how and we would provide the IP which is required to manage some of the complex parts of the business.
Got it. Thank you so much for your time. Wonderful
Thank you.
speaking to you, and we'll get back if there's some more information that we need.
Definitely.